What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Football Week 4, baby. I first want to just put it out there and say how sorry I am for all the fantasy owners out there that lost based on the terrible touchception of the Packers-Seahawks game. If you lost because you had Green Bay's defense, or you lost because you're playing against Golden Tate, which actually could happen, or you lost because you're playing against someone that Dark Horse picked up, Russell Wilson, I am so sorry. That sucks. But we won, so that's all that matters. 2-1, man. All right, we really needed that big win this last week. So let's real quick go just to see what happened last week. We actually really didn't put up that great numbers this week. We played against, we were playing against Prepared for Greatness. I don't know who JA is. Don't know who that is. But we played against them, and we had a decent week, but not really that great numbers. Matt Schaub really was the only one that had a great game. Everyone else, LaShawn McCoy has not produced this year, and I'm really hoping he gets it together. And our Jets defense came up big with 9 points. That helped. But, I mean, we won the game by 14. It wasn't really that close. He really had Stafford. Okay, this actually probably saved us. Did it save us the game? No, I think we would have won anyways. But it does suck because Stafford actually went out. He had ridiculous numbers this game. Well, he actually wasn't even that. He only threw one touchdown. Oh, well, he threw 278. But as soon as he went out, the backup came in, I think, threw like 2 bombs, touchdowns. So, Dark Horse. All right, so our bench, freaking Torrey Smith, man, just went off, which is awesome. I tweeted out, I think, right after that, how I thought that was awesome that he was able to come out and put on a performance like that after going through losing his brother and stuff. So, props to him. And Andre Brown, with Bradshaw out, is just doing work. So that's pretty awesome to see as well. But Bradshaw's coming back. So real quick, kind of look. If you look, we did make some changes this week. So those are the players that we had last week. And I just got off the phone with Chris, and we made some moves. So here's kind of our new moves. The top roster, our starters, nothing really has changed as far as personnel. We've made a few adjustments, which I'll talk about in a second. But down here, our bench has changed significantly. We ended up dropping, I think it was Jared Cook, and picked up the Giants D. We ended up dropping Cutler, because Cutler, here's the thing with Cutler. He wasn't producing stats. He wasn't producing points, and also I'm not a fan of Cutler at all. Just his persona and the way he kind of, when he makes mistakes and stuff, he pawns it off on other people, and sometimes you just got to man up and say, yo, I'm not playing well. I need you guys to pick me up. Rather than saying, look at, what's his name? Even though Aaron Rodgers lost that game, his offensive line could not do anything in the first half against the Seahawks. I think he got sacked 6 times, and I think he got hit 8 or 9 times. And instead of complaining and doing stuff like that, which would have really, I think, negatively impacted his team, he comes out second half, puts together a good show. I mean, they ended up losing, which again, I'm not going to go into that. But, okay, so we dropped him, and we picked up Fitzpatrick, and that's really, and also we have Kyle Rudolph. And I think we dropped, who did we drop for Rudolph? Oh, we dropped Witten. We dropped Jason Witten. Just because, in our mind, we're right now never going to start Witten over Owen Daniels, and I feel like Rudolph has way more upside than Jason Witten. Call me crazy. Post in the comments if you think that's nuts, but that's how I'm kind of feeling right now. So picking starters this week's a little difficult. Our top 3 is pretty easy. Schaub, McCoy, Peterson, those guys are starters for us pretty much every week. I know McCoy really hasn't produced. I mean, with the amount of carries last week against Arizona, he didn't really get that many carries. But, I mean, with 20-plus carries, he just needs to get in the end zone a little more for us. It would be awesome for him to get a touchdown this week. That's all I'm saying. 100 yards and a touchdown, I'll take. Peterson is awesome, obviously an automatic starter. Okay, then here it gets a little tricky for us. In our wideout spots, we've got Smith and Harvin this week. After kind of watching the Detroit-Tennessee game last week and just seeing how just kind of pass-friendly the Detroit defense is, we like Harvin here. Ponder's starting to come together, so we'll see what Harvin can do. Hopefully he gets in the end zone. And then Steve Smith against an Atlanta team defense that's pretty decent against the pass. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. What is receptions? What does that mean? Maybe someone wants to explain what their receptions means. Not really quite sure what I'm looking at there. Okay. Tight ends, like we said, Owen Daniels is starting for us now. I mean, Rudolph had a big game last week with 2 touchdowns, but only 36 yards. That leads to believe that he really is only being looked at near the end zone. And when you got a guy like AP, it's going to be tough for him to continue those numbers. But we'll see what happens. So we got Owen Daniels for sure. Our flex position's tough. I mean, Jordy Nelson, I'm not a fan of Jordy Nelson. We did not want him on our team. It auto-drafted Jordy Nelson, so I don't have a problem benching Nelson and not starting him. But we've got issues with D. Williams, who Jonathan Stewart is back, and so he's going to be splitting carries with him. You've got Andre Brown with Bradshaw coming back. It's a tricky thing. I mean, with the numbers that Bradshaw's put up the last 2 weeks, it's hard to think that the Giants aren't going to have him as the featured back. But, I mean, the Giants love Bradshaw, and they got rid of, I'm forgetting his name now, the big guy. They got rid of him for Bradshaw to be their featured back. So we'll see what goes on there. And then Torrey Smith, man, after an amazing game, will he produce the same numbers against a Cleveland team that has given up quite a few points and is, to be honest with you, just terrible this year. So, interesting things with DeMarco Murray there. DeMarco Murray, the reason why we have him there in the spot right now is because he's the featured back and he's not splitting carries with anyone else like the other running backs. And then the other wide receivers just haven't proven themselves week out. DeMarco Murray is good for around 10 points a game. So, would love to hear what you guys have to think about the flex spot. David Akers, solid kicker, love him. We got to keep him. Freaking San Francisco just loves kicking field goals. Okay, defense. We picked up the Giants' defense against a Philly team because of 2 reasons. 1, Michael Vick's been struggling with turnovers. And 2, with a scrambling quarterback like that, the Giants team is really, really good at keeping pressure on the outside and keeping Vick in the pocket. And I think the Giants team are going to create a lot of turnovers from that. The problem is it's very difficult, and I know that a lot of people have the same feeling. It's really difficult to put a Giants defense out there and hope for them to produce when you have someone on the other team like LaShawn McCoy. If LaShawn McCoy goes off and has a great game, it's going to take away points, obviously, in our defense on the Giants, which is going to negate some of his points. So we really don't want that to happen. And I don't think the Giants D is really going to score that many more points anyways than the Jets D. So that's our philosophy on that. All right. Post in the comments, you guys know the drill. Win-loss, what you think. Are we going to win? Post win. Are we going to lose? Post loss. Or lose. Whichever one you feel is the appropriate term. And we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we pull off the win and go 3-1. That will put us in the top 3 or 4 teams in our league. So looking good for the playoffs. We'll see you guys later. Peace. Man up.